Check, check. Get all our sounds. What's up, Juke? You're on. You're number one. Check. What's up, man? All good with you? I know I accidentally hit live to go on. I wasn't gonna go on so early. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. I deleted that video, but what I wanted people to see is no matter my career or how much money I made or how well I can play, I'm still a fucking human being. You know what I mean? I have medical issues that I deal with every day. I'm just a human being. What's up, Shredder? I, you know, I just want people to know if you have issues or problems, even me, I'm not a guitar god. I'm just a fucking human being, just like all of you guys. I'm just me. You know what I mean? I don't want to come off as some guitar god or someone that plays with famous people. I have issues. I got hit by a fucking dump truck and had two major surgeries. I, I'm a human being. But what I wanted to so part of that is to help you guys understand that, to inspire you. Whatever's going wrong in your life, you just push through it. That's what you got to do. And I'm a great case of that. There's no reason to give up. None. So what happens is I'd say probably every 3 weeks I get to where I can't walk and I have to take heavy medication. And what it does is it slows your heart rate down so that the blood flow isn't so fast, so you can kind of decompress the spine a little bit. Yeah, that sucks. 2012, rear-ended by a hit and run. Yeah, and I'm 60, so I'm not a young spring chicken anymore where where I could just yeah. I just want people to see that, no matter who you look up to or superstars, we all have issues. And that's the side a lot of people don't see on the downfall. Like I said, I don't get to play with my kid and stuff here and there. Why is guitar says in Gatlinburg? Put on yeah, nice. Yeah, it's one of those things. I did a video once where I came on in pain, where I was like kind of crying and stuff. It was hard, but there's a lot of people that I talk to out on the street. Steven, uh, I became friends with him. He fell off, I think, a ladder. I don't know how many stories, but he's paralyzed from the waist down, and he still puts on videos and teaches. He's an inspiration to me. I've had friends, you know, that have turned their life around. It's inspirational, and that's why I said, you guys, you'll be back at 8. No worries, tennis nuts. I That's why I said, just as much as you guys, I help you guys, you help me back, and this is something that I appreciate from my audience as well. You know what I mean? The reactor. I played the 100 watt. It's awesome. You're gonna love that. I went back to buy it, but it sold. They got one in and they sold it in a day. The cool thing about the 100 watt reactor is, I think were telling me that you can run a line out and then you can run an extension. So you have the line out where it sounds like a 4 by 12. So you can run direct, and then you can run the extension out into a cab and have an extension cab. So you get like a 4 by 12 going into it. Yeah, and I did take the stream down, and the only reason why I took it down is because my kid sees enough of that, and I don't want him. Like, if something happens to me, I don't want him to see me like that. He sees me like that enough sometimes. At 11 years old, I get to do some things before the surgeries and the accident. We used to ride bikes, we used to go golfing and stuff like that, and I can't really do that no more. So, that bothers me. Like, I've tried to hit balls. I've tried, like, again, I'm not going to just totally give it up. Like, I'll go with him to the golf course, and, you know, I just, you just can't swing as hard as you want. You just got to be careful, because that's the other thing with the nerve medicine, like the gabapentin. Even though that helps with the nerves, I you could, because it makes you feel good, you could actually hurt yourself. So you have to remember that you're permanently injured, and to be careful. Can't get 60. I don't recover well. Yeah, it's an outlet for me. And I know some of you guys look up to me and stuff, but I'm no better and no different than any other guy on this planet. Yeah, golf is really bad for the spine. Like, I like, if he goes out and hit balls. Like, I tried. The first here's the kicker. After the first surgery, like, after 6 months, they told me to start, playing golf again and working out. But what happened is, that's when I got in the car act that dump truck. Yeah, golf is really bad on the spine, for sure. And I'll tell you, it wasn't pretty. Hitting a golf ball over 300 yards down to like 150. My kid hit it farther than me. So, it is what it is. Like I said, but I go out there. I'll putt and chip. I don't even chip really. I'll just putt. But I try to teach him everything that I grew up learning. It's just one of those things where you have to be very, very careful with everything. Glute bridges. I used to do. My legs were so fucking strong at one time. I used to do sumo squats with 700 pounds. When I worked out, when I got off the road and I started working out, I got up to 279 pounds. Of course, there was juice involved and stuff, but I got pretty big. And then it got to the point where I was too big and I had problems swinging golf clubs and moving. So I went back down. I haven't really worked out in probably, let's see, 20, probably around 22 years. And the funny part is, like I was explaining to Steven, I've been playing for so long, and it's second nature that, uh, even as fucked up on that medicine as I was, if I didn't have to talk on a stage, I could have got up and played a whole set, and you guys would not even know it. You wouldn't even know it. As long as I didn't have to talk into a mic, because I could read comments and I could physically move. I mean, I wouldn't be running around the stage, but I'd be playing in one spot, reading the set list, and you know what I mean? Which is what a lot of the musicians probably do. Yeah, I did juice. I did the same thing like Lynch did. I did juice early on, and then I ended up getting off of it, and then I got back on it, and then got off of it. Now I'm on it again because after the surgery, my testosterone, because of the cuts, my levels depleted down to like 200, and I'm supposed to be like 450, 500 at my age. So they put me. I can't do the shots no more, so I take the gel on the shoulders. What's up, RF? Yeah, I got my kid lifting weights. I bought him two 10-pound dumbbells and showed him like the curls and stuff. Now my upper body's strong as shit. It's like from the waist down, from the disc. Yeah, and again, I didn't want to be a downer to anybody. I wanted to be more of an inspiration to show you that I have my own issues. Life isn't life isn't always easy. Life isn't always fair. Whatever it is, as people, we try to help each other and get through it and inspire each of us. What's up, Ant Corp? So I did have to ban Zach Sea Dog because he posted a comment making fun of the injuries, and that's not cool. Out of respect, it's okay to needle each other and have fun with that, but when you start making fun of someone's personal, like their personal physical injury or attributes, that's not nice. I don't think that's nice. Like I don't like he used the word retard, and that's when I banned him. I said, you don't call people retard, bro. There's a lot of unfortunate people. You're lucky that you never had that. Like if you want to call someone an asshole, I'm fine with that, but don't use disability names to call people. You know what I mean? I don't think that's right because they didn't have a choice. And a lot of us are very fortunate we turned out okay. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I can't stand. I don't even want to look at a gym. Male pattern baldness. I'm getting there, Jerry. It's coming. The gray's coming back in. I don't know. I'm fortunate to still have a lot of hair, though. You know what I mean? I can't complain. What's up, mashed taters? Music question. Hey, Michael. I saw your comment about the Rick Springfield. Yeah, he played guitar for him. I only did a couple fill-in shows because his touring guitar player got sick. Same thing with Daughtry. I only filled in for a couple shows. Skull it. What's the musical question, Tom? Is it a dominant 13? And that JVM is shipped, so that JVM's coming soon too. And they have a Boss, the yellow Boss Overdrive, but it's a Wazacraft for $100. Yeah, same with me, bro. I on the when I was younger, the life I was living, I was like, I won't make it to 40, and now I'm 60. What's up, Allison? Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. They give me so I don't know if I should tell you guys this. It's a combination drug. It's Xanax with naproxen, and I gotta take it and have somebody watch me because what it does is it lowers your heartbeat a lot, and I can only take that when I get to the point of going to a hospital. Jared Basis in Mercy Music had a 6-month romantic. Probably. Miley. Where's Tom Music question? Miley Cyrus. That's a weird relationship with the father and her. No, I believe it. She was she, mm, I don't I probably should not say what I was gonna say. Yeah, fuck it. She messed around with a lot of people from different bands. You'd be surprised. On a 4 progression, chord to triad to chord to triad. I mean, yeah, you can mix them too, triads to arpeggios. So let me show him something real quick, Jared Cooper. So like if I play A and then I want to play like a 2, let's say a 2 2 4 5, and I use the open G as like a pivot. Now, if I want to add some more notes in there, I could go. Or. So you can mix chords with that too. So that's on the second string. You can put it on the first if you want. But if you take it here and you do, say, like, you could do like a C, I mean a D, with like a D major. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do that. But what's your question about it? And to be honest, if you're playing arpeggios, to get the arpeggio out of that, like if you're playing on a 4, like if you're playing like a 4, like if I'm in G and I play a 4, so I would slide up to like say a 5 or whatever chord. I would throw like a little lick in between. I'm gonna guess that might help you. Oh, Jared Lydia Vance. Hey, Cosmic. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the music industry. Yeah, arpeggios and triads are great. So like triads are 3 notes, you know, and technically there's only 3 notes in a chord because you're doubling the the 1. So like if you're playing like say the best way to explain this is like let's say I play A major. That's my 3. 1, 5, 3, and my octave. looking above, off of that roof, I might want to play like an A major arpeggio here. Yeah, I don't know what you're asking me. I know you a four. Is it four chords? What are the chords you're playing? And then ask the question. Tell me the chords. Yeah, unless you're doing like a seven chord, which could be a you know, you could do a flat seven. Yeah, Lydia Vance. I kind of remember hearing about the band. What's up, William? Three ones, two fives. Yeah, and a third in. Yep. And you could break the arpeggio up too. Let's see. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with that. It just depends. Like I need to see, like if I saw what he was doing and then he asked me the question, I could probably strumming. I probably could answer it better. Plus, it depends on the genre. Like a four chord progression in blues is good for a chorus or a turnaround, but like, especially if you're not singing, because a lot of times, like if you watch Stevie Ray when he's singing, he's like, his singing is over like one chord or something where it's not really complicated. Bonamassa does that too. If you watch him play when he's singing, Gigi, if you watch Bonamassa and you watch a lot of these singer blues guys, they're not playing a whole lot of stuff over chords. They might slide into something. Yeah, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I was trying to show him like if you were playing like the A minor, you could split it up too. I don't know what he's exactly asking. If he tells me the chords, then I can kind of figure out what he might be doing. You weren't alive from 98 to 215. Don't feel so bad. The the 80s were a blur to me. I can pull this down too so you guys can see a little better. Let's see. That might Does that help with the light? A 1 3 6 1 2 3 4. You playing a 1 3 5 6, 2 and then a 5 in E major. You play the 1 as a major arpeggio and go right into the G sharp. So you're playing, let's see, you're playing a 1. All the chords are 7. Okay. E minor flat 4, add 9. Shock face. The 90s were for you. I like the 90s. There was some good stuff still coming out. So, what's your question with the sevens? Oh, you're partly disabled? Oh man, I'm sorry. But again, see, don't feel bad, bro. I got my own fucking issues. And where's Gigi? I got my bass. I put a battery in. Flat flat four is a major third. Yeah. But what arpeggios are you using? Are you like if you're playing the one to the three? Are you playing? You're playing your What is the arpeggio you're playing? Are you playing the arpeggio off the one? Like, are you playing E major into the three? The shoal shock face. Yeah, like so, like if you're playing, and then I like so like if I'm playing that, and I need to know, like, are you playing like a like like what do you? Oh, you are. So for me, I probably would play. Let's see. I'd probably play off the. I would do the arpeggio off the five of the chord, and then maybe slide into the seven. Does that make sense? It's supposed that's supposed to be a transparent white, but it looks more pink to me. So like I would arpeggiate off the five because that's the resolve. But you could also so the G sharp, you could play off the five into that and resolve it into the G sharp. So you could play like the E major and then at chord E major seven and then slot and then go into um, the G sharp, which the five of that would be um, D sharp. So you could use that five as your arpeggio of the next chord, and then resolve it into that chord. So you play the chord, and then you go off the five of the next chord to resolve it into that chord to make it sound smooth. So kind of like if I'm playing like just say a G, and my next chord's a C major. So I would go, or you know what I'm saying? So it kind of goes, yeah, E major first, and then the five of the next chord, whatever the arpeggio is. Retro on Uranus, the fifth of Uranus. So I would, because you're gonna arpeggiate the next chord too. So I would probably use the five to resolve it into the next chord you play. The five of the next chord. So like if I'm playing G, and then my next chord is say the D, the C major. So I would play, you know, bass. You're dying to hear the bass, aren't you? Red Shell in Photoshop, outer space. Yeah, you made your first inversion to like yeah, and then maybe a G sharp inverted arpeggiated, but I would play off the 5, which is the D sharp, to get into the G sharp. Hey Tom, can record what you're playing and send it to my email, jittboy@yahoo.com. Let me hear what you're playing. You could just do it on clean or whatever, it don't matter. Let me hear what you're doing, cuz I have a better, if I hear it, I have a better idea of what you're trying to do. It's hard without hearing exactly what you're doing. Oh, singer songwriter? Yeah. I just I come up with riffs like the old school way. You know, once in a while, if I had an artist, I'm not writing a lot no more, just for 3 people. But if I have where they're stuck on a song and they go, I don't know, let's use somebody. Let's see. Say it's Rihanna. And they go, she doesn't like the songs that were pre-recorded. I need, as far as the tracks that were submitted to the label that they approved of, and they go, we want something similar, but it's missing something. What do you think? So then I might use Spotify, look up, her that kind of like hip hoppy pop stuff, see who's hitting right now, and try to guess by the time they release the record in 6 months what's gonna hit. Oh, neo soul. Oh, in jazz. J. Just like my channel, Jit Boy, but without the one. Jit Boy, Jittboy, and then at yahoo.com. No, this isn't. It's Aldi's has a brand called Summit, and it's actually better than Coke Zero, and it's zero sugar, and it's only $4 for 12 pack. Yeah, Nuno plays for Rihanna. Yeah, that didn't go over so well with Jay Z, or was it who she signed with? The rights for? I think it's Jay Z. Am I circumcised? I hope so. At least that's what they told me. Is that a new Zach email from Sea Dog? The bass. Let's see. Let's see if I have. Do I? I think there were bass patches in here. Let me see. Somewhere in here. Let me see. Bass rigs. Here, I'll plug it in quick. Let's see. That's not very loud. That's a good thing. Let me turn this down real quick. I don't even know if these are actually programmed. Chandelier on my head. Sorry about the loudness. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Let's get overdrive. Let's see what else is in here. I guess make a bass patch. Usually I run direct. Get some green. Where's my green? We'll save that. And it's still overdriving. Whoops. It's a it's an Ibanez. Now I'm not set up to run it through the Kemper. I've never done that before, but I can see it's redlining it. Let's see. That's pretty much it. That's what the bass sounds like. Now I'm not gonna do like all kinds of fancy licks. Or there goes the monitor. The TJ. What's up, Cool Breeze? Oh, you left? Sea Dog was in it. Pete Thorne? Really? So let me think who that was. Because Zach doesn't go on there. A lot of Canadians go on there. So I'm going to guess. What was his name? I had words. I was on Pete Thorne's one day, and I asked him some questions. And what happened was he wanted to answer the questions. And so like he goes, no, they're great questions. And what happened was these guys were trying to talk smack, and they actually blocked me from the channel, from Pete's channel, because I know Pete. And then so I texted Pete Thorne and told him who those guys were and that they were like troublemakers. I can't remember their names. No, I can play with my fingers too, because here's the thing. A lot of guitar players that can finger pick, I can gallop and all that. I just haven't played bass in a while. Like most of the bass stuff that I do on my keyboard. But if I do tracks, I'll use like my tracks. I'll use the bass, I don't like the way it sounds through the Kemper. Actually, I think it sounded shitty. I'd have to. I'm gonna have to do a patch for the bass. I didn't know there was like a bass channels that you could actually put in there. You know, because I tap with my different fingers, so like it's that kind of stuff. I can snap and pop too. But if you watch bass players and they're not hitting thirds and fives, like if they're going just if they're not going if they're not hitting threes and fives, they're pretty much probably a guitar player. Jump, I probably could learn it. I know it's not hard. Probably the hardest part is the arpeggiated chords, but I don't think it's hard. What did I just taught my son Bohemian Rhapsody. So he learned I can do the whole piano through the whole song. So I taught him. Now here's the funny thing. He has he's only 11, so he doesn't have the span to do some of the chords. So it's kind of hard on him, but I showed him how to play it properly. Um, it depends how you string skip. You know, like hybrid picking's okay, but if you're going like, I mean that's smooth too. But if you're going like, it just depends. It depends what you're doing. But finger picking's great for chords. Yeah, it depends what. Yeah, it depends what you're gonna do. Huh? What happened, Gigi? Yeah, I didn't like the bass sound through the Kemper. I'm gonna have to set up a patch. Maybe I'll maybe in the next live I'll set up a patch with that drum track and I'll play to the track. Maybe we'll do a bass line on that other track that I never finished. Yeah, it depends. You know, like Michael Anthony's playing just basic. You know, it's a single note. But if the bass player is not busy, it opens up chord possibilities a lot more. Because if you think about it, yeah, and it depends. Like if you're playing fives and threes, like if you're going, you know, it just depends. Yeah, Van Halen's more of a pedal tone. Yeah, and the bass. I don't know what happened to my bass. It looks like it needs a setup again. Like the neck is tweaked. I'll let you see how high the action is. That's pretty high. That's really high. And that's the low. Here's the high string. Maybe because I don't play a lot. Yeah, me and him don't get along. Michelangelo. I told the story before. Me and Michelangelo did a few guitar clinics many years back, probably like 30 years ago. 30, yeah, about 30 years ago. And he gave me some shit. He's a good guitar player, though. Yes, yeah. Some of the Van Halen stuff is a little different. And I know Eddie was playing bass on some of the newer stuff. I don't know if you guys knew that. He was playing drums and bass. He was basically writing all the music. And he even gave Michael Anthony some credit for the bass lines that he was playing. Oh, Red Hot Chili Peppers, that's a whole different animal. I can't play bass like that. I can't play bass like Flea. I'd have to practice for 6 months. I don't have time to do that. Yeah, I do have time to do that, but you know, I don't. Bass is a lot of the stuff that I do, like on the pop stuff and the country stuff, is keyboard bass. It's a synth. It just has you can get bigger sounds. Once in a while, I'll double a bass part with a real bass and a bass synth. Oh yeah, Alex is a way better. Yeah, I just talked to Jizzy. He's gonna he's he's gonna quit Quiet Riot after all the tour dates are fulfilled. I just asked him, why don't you come out and sing with me, bro? I just talked to him today. I didn't want to say nothing because he hasn't responded to me yet. Let me see. I I actually sent him my phone number. I'm waiting for him to call. So if I see the call, I'm gonna have to take it. Let me just check emails quick. Something went wrong. Get off me. Let me get on there. Why not? We'll eliminate you. I'll have to look later. Wait, let me on there. The Jackson, yeah, that's it's one of my favorite guitars in here. It just sounds and plays amazing. Oh, Alex played piano on that, and there's a good chance Jizzy will come and play because again he was doing all those show like hiding out and I guess and always come out and sing with me. Yeah, I think Alex can play keyboards. I think he can play bass as well, and I think he can play a little bit of guitar, from what I understood. Like he was like Eddie, but not as good on the other instruments. Where the stringed instruments and the piano, he was Eddie was a lot better at. But like you never know who plays piano. Like Steve Vai grew up playing classical piano. Did you know that? So Steve Vai is actually a classical pianist. A lot of people don't know that. I don't even think he talks about it. Red Beach plays piano too. The MS leads you that way. Yeah, like, and when I saw Quiet Riot the last time, again, I told you they didn't talk to anybody. They didn't want to see anybody, and they weren't. It was good, but they weren't clicking on stage. No, I don't think they looked alike. Alex and Eddie, they looked a little different. When they both smile at the same time, they do. But I don't, because they always reminded me like they looked a little Hawaiian. Oh yeah, Tony McAlpine grew up playing piano first. He's another one. Red Beach, Tony McAlpine, Steve Vai. Um, who else do I know that plays piano that maybe you don't know? Hmm. Yeah, rip something. Time for a lesson on how not to suck. Ingve? Ingve uses. He don't really play piano. He's not as good as Nick. Indonesian? Maybe. What kind of lesson do you want? Well, a lot of people kind of get stuck. Like, I have to hear what Tom was talking about. But the Super Share, yeah, that's a cool guitar. On rhythm, well, so like the G string for me, I always talk about as like a minor major thing. So like once you So like if you know your scales and stuff like that, it's kind of cool like to think of that. But I always think of like the first two strings, the E and the B. That's a G chord. That's an A chord. B, C, D, E. So you can do a lot of chord things off of that, the first and second string. Like if I was playing like so you can use these first two strings for a lot of the melodic stuff. There's a lot of stuff off these first. So you can slide this up too from the B. And then resolve it to the E. That's like a cool fun thing to do that's real easy that you can mess around with for rhythms. So if you go B, C, back. So that's like a 3 to a 5. And then resolve to your E, which is that B is the 5 to the E. Oh, my kid hit the harmonica. Yeah, I just watched Joe Stump. He's got a new video out. I don't know the name of it, though. Yeah, he plays a lot like Ingve on it. He's playing like all the broken, inverted. So, he's doing like a lot of Ingve stuff. Joe Stump. He's a good guitar player. Did you want to see something like that, Cool Breeze? That's kind of a cool idea. You can arpeggiate the B. Resolve it to the E. Yeah, Joe's a really good guitar player. He's playing a lot of melodic stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. I understand what you're saying. So like you see like if I'm playing this B, so the resolve into the E, I could play that E and B is like right above each other in the minor. Then if I wanted to play the minor or major or minor major, there's the minor. So with that, now you got that in there again. There's your harmonic, your flat 7 or whatever. Walk it back into a frenzy. That's kind of hard to do. Like so I play short stuff. So if I'm going it's hard to throw that in. You would probably want to throw it over the top of the chord. But like, that like even when you're playing like arpeggiated, you do that on all your strings. And then you go through them all. Yeah, Rat's got a cool sound, But like again, a lot of those fills. They're thrown after the actual progression. It's a dominant 7. Yeah, like even when you see, so like if you take this and you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, taking that flat 6 and bend it up. Using those notes, and bending up, where they're flat, or bending here. So you got 3 in a row. So like, what's his name that played with Megadeth? Jeff, that was his name. I can't remember his name. So like if you're playing, you're almost playing like chromatic bends. He does it fast. Warren plays on, flat 6s and 4s and 3s and 5s a lot too. The first and second, like, Under the Cellar and Privacy were my favorite. They had a... Jeff Loomis is great. But like, like all those like... You could create a lot of tension with those notes. You know, you're your flat five. I mean, like a country kind of thing like that. You use that flat five. Robin Crosby wrote a lot of that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I do it, but different. You know, like where I go down. I might do it like that. But Stevie does a lot of. He did a lot of that kind of stuff. I, I, I still, Stevie wasn't doing anything exceptional. It was his approach to it, the way he played. You know what I mean? Yeah, Robin played. He was the one writing a lot of the songs. And it's a sad story when he got sick, and then they were supposed to get back together, and he sold all his stuff, and then they saw that he had gained a lot of weight, and they're like, "Nah, you can get up and play a couple songs." Yeah, he did his ascending, and he did chords like that too. Yeah, he did a lot of cool stuff, and I just saw him do like they were almost like a pivot tone. I saw him do something similar to that, but what he did is he was doing bends like that. I don't know exactly what he did, but it was something like that. I gotta watch it again because it was kind of cool. But he was doing like how you would do the Ingve thing. I gotta watch it again because I was like, what was that? I didn't get to watch it again, so I was like, oh, that sounded really cool. Yeah, Stevie Ray had a fire about him when he played. Yeah. Like I like Bonamassa and he's a great guitar player and he's a good songwriter and good singer, but he's nowhere near Stevie Ray Vaughan. He didn't approach the guitar or attack the guitar like Stevie Ray. Styx just played here with somebody last night. Was it last night? Monday. Yeah, Monday. I don't even know what fucking day it is. The train wreck bands. I'm gonna have to look at that because I don't know what it was. It sounded really. I was like, what is that? Nah, I didn't fear. I don't know why they fear Ingve. I think they do that about talk. I've jammed with Ingve, like sitting down at Guitar Center. He's really good though. This is what I'll say about him that that are probably true about a lot of guitar players, including me. I don't show you half the stuff I know because it's too complicated, and it's better suited for like maybe jazz or something. But Ingve is a lot better in person than he plays on the record. Like if you try to outplay Ingve, he's got like another like he plays about on 7. So if you play at 7 or 8, he's going to turn it up to 10. He's got more in his bag. Like, you got to remember when he's playing solos, he's playing to the records and stuff. But like a lot of people don't understand. If you let him loose noodling, he's devastating. Yeah, Stevie Ray was that good. I love the stuff he did with David Bowie too, which was a weird, odd combination, but it worked. You know, a lot of people take Ingve wrong. He's a nice guy. He's got an ego, but he's a nice guy. Like if you're not a bullshit player, he you know, I haven't talked to him in a long time. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since Kenny. He fired Kenny. Kenny, I was friends with his old guitar tech, Kenny, and Kenny was friends with Patrick. So like me and Patrick and Kenny used to hang out all the time. Kenny was a big motherfucker. I heard stories about Kenny chasing Ingve around the stadiums. Bars pissed off. You want to know everything until you cannot begin to know anything? Yeah, because most of the stuff that you hear, it's like Randy Rhoads. When you heard him on the tribute album or heard him live, you're like, what the hell? Yeah, he used 12s or 13s. Yeah, China Girl. Kenny G? No. I don't know Kenny's last name. He was Ingve's guitar tech. I forgot where he moved. He moved out of state, Patrick told me. He was one of the coolest fucking guitar techs you'd ever meet. Jeff Healy, yeah, another great player. Gone crazy. Yeah. Going crazy. What's up, Zandig? Yeah, Stevie Ray. I was fascinated by him when I used to watch like him at Austin City Limits and stuff like that. That's when it was cool to learn blues. I actually, there were a couple blues guys. Robert Cray I used to listen to as well. And then when Blues Saraceno came out, and I was like, you can mix blues and then the John Sykes stuff with, you know, White Snake. I was like, what? My song? Which song? The heavy stuff or the rap stuff? Sean Lane. That's Ingve's guitar tech. Oh, Steve Lane. Oh, he is now. A couple years ago, Ingve threw a guitar up into the lights and Kenny couldn't see it. And I think it was like a 69 Strat or something. And he fucking, it fell and busted. He got fired on the spot right after the show. Each one? I don't know what's on now. Let's see. Are you talking about that heavy one? That cool riff one? Let me see. This is another one. And these are easy songs. They just sound good. They're not hard at all. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are easy. Now that one I don't have a guitar to play, but I think I did. Did I do that in standard? Yeah, I think that was still in drop D. But like, those are just octaves. You know what I mean? And then that's all that is. Same thing with the. Let me see. The drop. The drop. They're only like a couple chords in those. They're not hard at all. Because that, and then I have where I play the. So it's like a box. That's all that is. What was the first? I don't remember the first one. What's the first one? I can't remember my songs. I have to listen again. So that's that. That's all. Oh, same thing with that. It's just off a G with the open E. It's chromatic. Now the hard part is that kind of weird staccato rhythm. Hey, Tortured. Mega Dave already did it. Yeah, they're not hard at all. They're same thing if I all of it like is kind of groove stuff. Trying to think what was the other one. I did another one. What was it though? I don't think I started that way. Oh, that's the one Allison like with where I put the. What did you tell me to put in there? I did strings or something. Oh, the double stops, yeah. Yeah, you could do a lot of double stop stuff. Oh, you've been doing some improv panels? Cool. Yeah, again, like when you hear like the little licks and stuff like I try to play like quick, like so before it gets into the next. Uh, like I'll play at the end of a chorus or something before it gets into the next verse. I try to fit it in over the lick where it might go. So it's going. The I'll play over that two chords or something like that. So you might hear something like, or just something like that. Yeah, the other one I'd have to load. That's at the end. My name is Jizzy Jit. That one. Yeah, and it's the same. Like again, if you're doing like. like the sixes and stuff like that. Those sound good in like it's like a double stop. It's like a one and a six, but they sound good playing like with clean guitar. Do I have any clean on here? So if you're playing like clean, that kind of stuff, and like where you might pop, like I'll snap and pop like a chord or something too here and there. So like if you're playing, so you can play like a little quick lick. How's the wife doing? Oh, she's been pretty good. It's a Kemper. It's not an amp, but I do have a JVM amp coming. Oh, that's pretty loud, huh? So again, oh, this is a bass rig. Really? That's bass. Where's my clean stuff? Let's go to the AC stuff. See how loud that is. And if you put reverb on with like a 6, and that's the other thing you can do, like in classical guitar, they might switch the chord while you're holding. So you're like changing chords like that, so there's not a lot of movement, or like there's all kinds of tricks into it. You got to sit down. I got the 50 watter. I have a 50 and the 410 in my warehouse. Tom Boulay from a oh yeah. Send that to me too. But like if you're playing a lot of the chords, so if you're playing like here, so like you got this arpeggio here, but then you got a chord here. And you just mix the notes with the scale with the arpeggios and the chord. You're just like, it's kind of like fill in stuff for me. You know what I mean? If you're talking about that. Out of tune. You're kind of just filling in. That's okay stuff for me, but I rather play chords with the fill-in notes. I don't like slower stuff as much. Because then you got to find the notes that work for that stuff. It's you know I like more like that, like a little more on the funky side. Just sounds better to me. And I like octaves. With all the double stops, that sounds better to me. I like playing more like that. It's more interesting too, I think. Pentagon grade F-35. Yeah, so that this behind me is a Kemper. That's what all those sounds are coming through. No, it's cool, but it's hard to do the metal stuff with that. I've been practicing for. We got a practice coming up with the War Pigs thing, so I've been focusing on that. With the Sabbath stuff, and because I was playing the beginning of Believer the other day. I said, "Hey man, can we add that in?" And Dave was like, "Hell yeah, I love that song." It's going right into the board. But I have two Kempers. One's in a rack with a power amp. It's a VHT power amp. So I run that into two cabs. The other one's set up to run direct. Yeah, I like more stuff that's interesting. Like I tell cover bands all the time, don't play any slow songs. And they're like, why? I'm like, because you want the people up dancing and drinking. You got to make them sweat and buy some drinks. That's the way. Rock out or funk. And like how I'm playing like that. You can practice rhythm with just one song and changing that instead of. You change up the picking, like your stroke pattern. The fiddle parts. What's up, Jerry? Yeah, like even stuff like this where you're going. You can add weird licks over that. Shrewd advice. Yeah, so like, just. A lot of playing straightforward like that is okay for like the pop and the country, but you might, maybe you want to get to a bridge and you change up just one chord. Like give it a weird twist or something. Oh, don't want no slow songs? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. A lot of bands do that. To switch, yeah, and they might move it down a third. So like if they're going like Let's see. They might move it here. It sounds like a key change, but it's not. Make them sweat. Yeah. That's really good. The confounded bridge. Yeah, like, even if I'm going. You can make two parts kind of fit together to come up with interesting parts as well. Pink Floyd reference. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, like off that first two strings. Just movement, practicing movement a lot too. Even just like, or whoops. See, I fucked up. Stuff like that off the E and the B. That helps too. So when you're playing like those inverted chords, then you can get that white lion kind of sound. Vein, yeah. Nope. Well, you get the flat 5/6. Yeah, Vane's pretty good. I don't know if they're still around. What time is it? I'm not gonna stay on a hold. Hearing aid? Craig Goldie. I'd play out of F sharp major, and then I probably would use A sharp as my major tone and C major. Probably A minor a lot. Let's see. Probably D minor. I wouldn't have played any blues though. depends. It depends how many takes I would do. Everything depends on the situation at that moment. I may not have played that way. You know what I mean? I could have played different. There were a lot of players there, so I might have played different than what the other guys were playing. I don't know. I'd have I. It, Sometimes you go in with a thought mentality. I'm going to do this and go do that, and then you kind of there's a room full of people, so you start playing differently. Again, when I play with cover bands, I barely like I play, but I'm not I don't play on top of my game, But when I play with Dave Spitz or Patrick, who's played with Ingve for 16 years, then I have my shit down. You know what I mean? It's different in all situations. Like when I was doing clinics with Michelangelo, I wasn't gonna let him outspeed me. Just because I thought he was a dick, egomaniac. So I would play. I was with the dance band, and like when we did the guitar clinics, the the companies that put that on, they knew that I was from GIT, so like they knew I was a shredder. Michelangelo knew Mike Varney and those guys as well. It just depends. I mean, like if I'm friends with somebody, like if I was playing with Craig Goldie, I would not play him. There's no way. I would just. He's a legend. Why would you disrespect him? Like Ingve. I never tried to outplay Ingve, but he would always ask me to show him some of the stuff I was doing, and I said no. Oh, the blues, yeah. And I don't, like I said, I wouldn't play the blues, but if everyone was playing more metally, I might have mixed the blues in with some shred stuff. You know what I mean? I don't. I would have to listen, and it depends where my solo fit on the record on the Hearing Aid song. Like, if I was coming after George Lynch, I probably would play a little more bluesy or a Craig Goldie, but like after Vivian Campbell, I'd play more shreddy. I would kind of try to make it fit together. It depends. Like Expose, I wasn't shredding. They were just cheesy solos. I always try to play what the song calls for. Again, when I play the Sabbath stuff, I'm not trying to disrespect Tony Iommi. I don't play like him. I don't sound like him. I'll play the songs like he did, and I'll put my own twist on his solos. And I have friends that tell they want me to get up and jam with them here and there. I don't. You love cheesy solos. I just I rather not. You know, because if something happens, like and they felt that it was trying to, how guitar players are. If I got on stage and they felt like I was trying to outplay them when I was holding back, and it caused a rift because it was my friend, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, not saying that I will, but I don't want to embarrass anybody or make them feel like I was trying to overplay them. Now, I have done that in the past. It was a band called Solicide, and Michael was the guitar player, and then they auditioned my buddy Gio, who played with the kids, and Michael said, "Just fucking have at it." He goes, "I want you to embarrass everybody in here." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Please do me a favor, just fucking rip." I was like, "Okay." And then Gio goes, "Why did?" He walked up to me. He goes, "Dude," he's like, "I don't even want to get on stage now." I mean, I don't know why he asked me to, but like I've done that once or twice. Like if you're a cocky guitar player somewhere, and I know you're in the audience or something, and my friend asked me to get on stage and goes, "Dude, just fucking have at it," then I will. But I'm not going to do it to embarrass my friend. Joe Holmes, yeah. There's so many underrated guitar players, man. It's sickening. Michael Romero is one of my favorite. Marshall Harrison, hardly anyone knows who he is, and he's fucking phenomenal. Yeah, so like there's a lot of people like that, that you don't want to step on people's feet or whatever. Even if you're not trying to and they take it that way, unless they ask you to, hey man, this dickhead's always at the show trying to get my job, just fucking go after him. Once in a while that happens, but not often. I loved Vito Bratta. I don't think he was an Eddie Van Halen. I think he was a lot different than Eddie. I don't know. It to me, White Lion was nothing like Van Halen. And just because he tapped, but he tapped so different than Eddie. He always got compared to Eddie. I didn't think it was anything like Eddie. Like if you learn White Lion songs, you'll see it's nothing like Van Halen. Vito was actually more technical than Eddie. Is he playing again? Still, he doesn't have a hand injury. Hand Medical hand injuries are how like Vinnie Vincent got out of his contract. Vito Bratta. I think somebody out of Megadeth had said he had a hand injury. They use that so when they break contract, it's a medical issue. Vito never hurt his hand. He just wanted out. He owned everything in White Line. He wanted out. He wasn't making the money he thought. He made a little bit. You know, he opened a restaurant, a mechanic shop. He took care of his dad, his uncle. Yeah, Vito had a lot of melody in his solos. I don't think Vito will ever play again. I think he just is sickened by the industry. But never say never. That happened to me. I mean, I walked out of the third album for Expose, walked right out. I when and it'll sound discouraging, but when you're in the industry for as long as I was doing that stuff with the touring and stuff, I wasn't happy with the music. A lot of it was tracked. The solos were live. I mean, you start to hate what you become until it's like burning the candles at both ends. First, there's drugs and the women, and then there's the pressure of writing hit songs, and they want you to continue to write hit songs, and it's just going, and it's getting closer and closer, and then people start pissing you off, and you don't like the tour manager, and you don't like this person, and you co-found the band, and you're like fuck off. It became an issue. On you know the third record, I was done. Yeah, and I know Jim Crean from Sabbath Nights just played with Michael Tramp, and I told Michael to tell him. Same thing with Paul. They all know me by Smiley. I said, tell Smiley said hi. I haven't talked to Mike in years either. He kind we're still friends, but I didn't have words with him. But after Vito Bratta had hurt his hand and stuff, he did Freaks of Nature, and because I knew Mike then, I go, dude, just fucking hire me. We'll continue as White Lion. And he was like, I can't. Vito owns everything. I said, well, get his permission. And he wouldn't give it. But he didn't push on him either. That would have been interesting writing with Michael Tramp. Because I like a lot of that inverted chords with those little lead things in there. Mike's a really nice guy. That's why he didn't push on Vito. Mike's not a confrontational guy. It's kind of like, Robert Sarzo and Rudy. They're not confrontational. They're just really nice guys. Craig Goldie, another one. Uh, you know, there's so many. Michael Tramp. That's who I used to get mistaken for the most, Michael Tramp. Main attraction, yeah. I liked Fight to Survive too. That was actually a demo that they turned into a record. That was heavy as shit. Oh, Fender's going after Yamaha. They just sent them letters, but it might. I don't know what Yamaha guitar are they going after. Did they say? See, here's the thing though. They're not going to go after everybody. They're going to try the cease and desist letter, but you have to understand something. If they went after, say, 100 people, 100 guitar builders, right, and Thoman, you're looking at $1 billion in lawsuits that they have to front. The Pacifica, that's kind of a piece of shit guitar anyway. If I would, Yamaha's got that rev, I would just get rid of the Pacifica or change it. Yeah, the Pacifica's the RGZ now I could understand. That was a great guitar with the Floyd and everything. Yeah, it's kind of Strat like. I don't like that guitar anyway. I think it sucks. It's a beginner guitar. Well, they're not going to go anywhere. Fender's never going to go anywhere because they're not lawsuits. They're just cease and desist letters. That's why everyone was like, "Oh, Thoman's suing Fender." No, they're not. They're just asking the courts to reevaluate what they do. With Metal Church was fucking awesome. Do you remember that song that was really fast and the drums like? I don't remember the name of that. I forget the name of that, and the drums were really slow. And the drums just fucking were just grooving. That's one of the coolest fucking songs, mixing a fast guitar rhythm with a slow drum track. Oh, this the Yamaha's 80s. The Pacifica, it feels it like if you found the cheapest Squire. I don't know what like the whole Pacifica line if they make different versions that are better, but Yamaha's not known for a Strat guitar anyway. You know what I mean? The cool companies, what like Dean? Well, bankruptcy is different than going out of business. Now, I don't know exactly what's happened with Dean, but I know they lost to get. See, here's the thing that a lot of people never talked about the Fender thing. Gibson won on copyright of a bunch of guitars last year. That opened the door in the United States. So, of course, Fender's going to try it. But there was, you know, and the Thoman thing was based off of somebody who imported a bunch of shitty fake copies like the chips in, but they were Fenders. They had the Fender headstock and logo on it. The Twisted Sister, I don't know. I used to like them like under the blade and stuff when they were heavy. Ty Traber plays what? Pacifica? Now I was signed to Zion Guitars, Zion, when Ty Traber was signed with them. It was me, Phil Keggy, and Ty Traber. Yeah, the 80s, it was hard to compete with Charvel and Jackson and Kramer. Those were the three shred guitars, and then like a lot of the blues and country guys were, Tellys and Strats. Yeah, but so the Gibson lost to them, but PRS is kind of like a shiesty. They hired McCarty, who worked for Gibson and designed some guitars for them. So they went after trying to stop him to build for another company. I mean, I understand. I mean, what's his name went to work for who was that first company to get one from Fender? Can't remember the Sadakoi. I forget the name of the company. They hired Fender's 20-year luthier who ran the custom shop. Where's my Lion guitar? Get the boys. What's up, Merlin? Oh, my Zion guitar. I, I, I sold all those. When I retired in 97, I was so fucking pissed off I sold all my gear. Except for the collectibles. Because here's the thing Zion guitars are never going to be worth money. LSL. Yeah, they hired one of, what's his name? Chris something. I forget his name too. Damn, I suck with names. They hired Fender, the guy that ran Fender's custom shop, and I think he was exclusively the one maybe that even came up with um, some of the telly stuff that was going on. Yeah, Zion. I sold them all. I even signed the ones signed to me from the owner of the company. Should have never did it. I was so fucking mad. So I retired in 97 and I walked out of the industry pissed off. Again, it's not what everybody thinks it is. G&L, I like G&L better than Fender. Like when Leo was with G&L making some of those guitars. Like the G&L Comanche's unbelievable. They had the pickups were definitely better. The windings were better. The metals were better in the pickups with G&L. Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to remember if they get a cease and desist letter, it's usually over just one guitar. Chris Fleming, that's it. Yeah, he's partnered with LSL. And I think, and Chris Fleming is the one who brought up PRS. So PRS got the cease and desist letter over the Silver Sky because of Chris Fleming. Oh, Siegel? Which one's Dean? Oh, I think Luna, the acoustic I have, is a Dean guitar. I think Luna's from Dean. Oh yeah, some of the older Yamaha acoustics sound really good. The Takamimis, the Yamahas. I had Taylors and Martins. I sold them all. Once I got the Luna, I was just because I don't play a lot of acoustic guitar because of the Sims. I the Luna bamboo acoustic was the one that I said, "Damn, that sounds like all of my great acoustic guitars." Gene Simmons over. No way, man. I love Gene, but King Diamond. Yeah, Andy LaRoque. Andy's a great fucking guitar player. He's an '80s shredder. He writes some great fucking riffs. No, he's not. He wouldn't have worked for Fender for almost 20 years. Fender wouldn't have kept him around if he wasn't really good at what he did. Because you have to remember something. Bud Cole is told what to do by the higher ups of Servco. So like Guitar Center, if you think Gabe is running Guitar Center, you're foolish. If you think Bud Cole's running Fender, you're foolish. Gabe is owned by three companies. Guitar Center is owned taken over by three companies. I don't remember them all, but I talked to one of them. They're worth anywhere from 200 to 600 billion dollars each. Mickey D, yeah, Mickey D. I knew him way before Motorhead. He used to play in a band down here. Uh, what the hell was the name of it? Dennis the Menace, I think was the name of the cover band. Mickey D. I think they were out of Tampa, maybe, or Jacksonville. I can't remember. My favorite acoustic sound? I'm trying to remember the companies that. Yeah, he seemed. I've never met him, but he seems like a nice guy. Let's see. I can't remember the companies that own Guitar Center, and I just fucking talked to one. That was a couple weeks ago. I got such a fucking short memory. I'm bad with names. Let's see. There's three company. Something Castle. Two of them run Guitar Center, and the other's a silent partner. Oh, Aries Management, Brigade Capital, and um, Affinium. I talked to Brigade. So Aries and Brigade work together, and they actually run it. Affinium is actually um, like a silent partner. And before that was I forget who took Affinium's place. Who Affinium took? I'm trying to think. Bridge something or Merrill or something. I can't remember. So what they did is they restructured Aries Brigade and Affinium. Let's see, 2025. I'll tell you the other two companies that bailed, and you probably don't know. Carlisle. So Carlisle bailed, and Affinium took over, and that was last year, which isn't in the news. So Affinium took over of Brigade or Bridge, whatever I just said. I didn't even know Affinium was in there. Yeah, Bain used to be. It's three different companies, and last year was a different. So when they restructured, one of the companies, Carlisle, bailed, and they took in Affinium, or Affinium has merged or something. You know how all that goes. Every year is a different company. when they restructure and stuff. I'm sure Dean will be back around and restructure with their finances. And that's what Sam Ash was doing, but it was one Ash brother and no one was helping him. He just got pissed off and just sold it, went bankrupt, borrowed money and then left. Yeah, GC's profitable. So the little GC store by me, when they initially opened, their goal was $2 million a year. They made 5 million. Now their goals are 9, 10 million a year. So in the last, whenever that opened, last 10, 15 years, they've went from 2 to 10 million a store. That's crazy. Guitars are gonna the guitar industry, just the guitar industry, by 2035 is going to be worth $27 billion. Guitars aren't going anywhere. That's why there's a big fight with Fender, because Fender controls 30%, Gibson controls 34% of the industry. That's 60. That leaves another 40% wide open. PRS is only 9% of the industry. They can tell you the PRS Silver Sky was one of the best selling guitars of all time. It's not. It's their best selling guitar of all time for PRS, not in general. So they lie about, they embellish on the numbers. PRS is 9% of the world guitar population, and Fender and Gibson have 60%. Fender has Charvel, Jackson, Gretsch, Squire. They ain't going nowhere. And they just bought Reverb, Servco. Now, Servco steps in, you'll see a lot to change. Because, again, Bud Cole's not calling the shots. Servco is 3 to 5 times or 4 times bigger than Thomann. Servco gets involved, they're all gonna walk, because this is how it works. Like if you're bidding on property to build apartments, there was a contractor in my area many years ago named Devasta. Devasta had so much fucking capital. When he walked up, everybody left. You weren't gonna outbid him. He had too much money. Whoever has the most money wins. That's usually how it is. I hate to say that too because it really sucks. But it's been like that for a long time. Yeah, I mean, I've offered to buy this Guitar Center over here because there's a lot of things that Guitar Center can do that's better. One of the things I talked about was having all those guitars on the wall are demos. You don't sell them because they're played. And they have a main central warehouse and they ship the guitar right from the warehouse to your house or to the store, and you pick up a brand new one in the case, in the box, never opened. I think that's the way it should be. The used gear would be different. You can play it and you can negotiate your price, the used amps, but all new gear should be shipped directly from a warehouse. And then, you know what I mean? Where it's not really considered new. Thanks, man. You know what I mean? That's just the way it should be. I also said a lot of places like Walmart are renting spaces inside. They got Subways here, Pizza Huts. Why doesn't Guitar Center open a restaurant like like a little one, like a Starbucks? You got internet, free internet. You got coffees and like desserts, danishes, donuts. Who wouldn't go in there just to have a coffee or sit down and just talk to somebody, you know, or meet a band? You want to audition for a band, but you're a little sketchy of them, so you meet them at Starbucks and Guitar Center. It's a public place. There's so much more that they can do. But again, I've suggested a lot of stuff, but are they going to listen? No. They're going to listen to somebody like Philip McKnight because he's shady, and he's gonna try to sell him on the idea of the McKnight Les Paul that he was selling for under $200, and go, Gabe, we can build this guitar for under like $100. So if we upgrade the thing, and we're buying these for 300, and we put, come up with a cool Guitar Center name on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Barnes and Nobles has that too. Yeah, they should have coffee in there and stuff. I mean, because a lot of times you go in there and you're anxious to buy something or you get excited. There's no food or drink in there. Some chocolate chip cookies would be nice. Some frozen coffees. You know what I mean? Some bagels. Could even do bagel sandwiches and stuff. I mean, it's all kind of stuff. Thanks, Ace. Yeah. So like I would have bought that place, and I would have pushed another store out of there and made it bigger. I would have put a stage in there too. Yeah, fixing the fucking toilets, redoing the bathrooms, putting a tap machine in there. I hate that my card, I gotta push it in. It's like, dude, it's 2026. Tap machines have been out for 20 fucking years. I need to tap. Yeah, it takes money. Instead of building the business to make more money, maybe you should fix your fucking stores. The fucking carpet's gotta go. That fucking the Marshall shit on the walls has gotta go. Like they approached me, Dave, and Patrick because their motto is "We're Legend Shop," and they approached us to do clinics there, and then they backed out of it. Yeah, and the reason why they're going to invest now is because they're like the biggest bricks and mortar store in the USA. Guitar Center cell phones. Yeah, I hate those things, bro. I even suggested to them, listen, they used to have a thing called sit where you would have inner shipping to each Guitar Center and you would write it off. Sometimes a customer they would sit it for a customer and they would get it in and the customer would try it and buy it. If not, it just went into your stock. I understand that became expensive, but if, like, let's say the JVM head, shipping was only $30 from Georgia for me. It's a heavy head. But if I keep that past, say the return policy is 45. If I keep that head for 60 days, they should refund the shipping because I bought it, and you know, they shouldn't charge for shipping if you're keeping it. I understand the people that return stuff in the return policy date, but just maybe put that as a stocking fee or restock fee because someone took it home and now that product's not new anymore. You know what I mean? They could improve their business by a lot. If they went from 2 to 10 million in like 15 years, just think what they could do if they added all that stuff. Plus, they're like over here. I don't know what the rent is, but if you get a Starbucks or a Subway in there or something like that, you could rent that spot for 4 grand instead of them getting a whole store. There's so much they could do to lower costs. I, I, I don't understand that part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not gonna stay too much longer too, because I'm gonna try to take it easy on my back for a little while. You know, it doesn't bother me now, and I've been walking good. But the record boom from the Beatles, yeah. I just was reading how Michael Jackson ended up with half the publishing from Sony, because you know, crazy. I didn't know Randy Jackson. He wasn't really outed from the family, but he was trying to take over Michael Jackson's estate. And I know some of the Jacksons family weren't even allowed in the estate. I didn't know Randy Jackson ended up marrying Jermaine's ex-wife. That's kind of disgusting. I don't want to say what I was gonna say. But like, how can you have sex with your brother's ex? Ugh, that's disgusting to me. I know. That's like if I had like a stepsister and I had sex with her. That's even kind of gross to me because it's like family. Even though she's not my blood, we were raised together. You know what I mean? That's like that's nasty. But the brother thing, oof. Yeah, that's one thing I don't want to do. No, I never met him. He was a great bass player for sure. But I'll just say, what a piece of shit as a human being. Yeah, he's a great producer too. I think he did Zebra, right? From Canada? Or is that a different one? I can't remember. He's a great musician. That's the thing. I like a musician for what he's done musically, not his personal life. But when I read about, like, I didn't know that till today that he was with Jermaine's ex, because I was talking to somebody. I go, let me see what actually got ousted for, and I go, oh shit. I was like, I didn't know that. Oh really? That's a no for me, dog. Yo, dog, you're just not that good. What new songwriters? Is it more difficult today to get song? Yeah, not to get published, but to sell them. Elvis. Yeah, Elvis was a character too. But as far as getting stuff published, you can do that. Look for publishing companies. You might pay a little bit, and you know, as far as writing new songs and stuff, you can use, like, I use Spotify. If I'm stuck on something and someone sends it in the middle of the night, and thank God they haven't been, um, I I go, what? I don't need. What's happening today? Yeah, they say find a dealer. See, no one's gonna throw Fender out of their shops. You know that, Dennis. That's 30% of your business gone. Yeah, and the other thing is publishing and stuff, and like Spotify and everything. A lot of that depends on where you live. It's a point system. I was talking about this, urban versus rural. So, like, if you live in New York and you're a rapper, because it's a higher populated, dense area, and you're on Spotify and you're out of New York, you might get 8 points. So if you're in Idaho and you're the same rapper, you get a half a point. That equivocates to money. It's a shame they do that, but that's what they do. They do that in all corporations. They do it in Guitar Center. They do it in Walmart. They do it in a lot of corporations. That was just a custom shop. You were on his bedside. Oh yeah, yeah. Like the guy from Firefall, he wants me to hear some of his songs and try to help him get in back in the business. I said, well, you got to send me the songs and let me hear what you're writing, because he wrote a lot of stuff for Firefall. He's a legitimate writer, and he's working at Guitar Center as a guitar tech. And like I was like, again, you never know who's in there working. I'm like, you wrote for Firefall? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, they were fucking great. Again, you never know who you run into. Oh, the book was? Yeah, like you know, you got if you're working for a, like if you're writing music, you got to find like if you have publishing companies in your area or somebody that can help you with that, find out where they hang out, like what bars all these people are hanging out. Like a lot of record executives after work in New York will go hit a local bar. That's just how it is. Like there's underground clubs in New York that I would go in, and everybody from everybody would be in there. Like Lady Gaga to Lars Ulrich. I mean, they were all in there. It's like, you couldn't just walk in. You had to know somebody to get in. But if you know somebody, Ibanez versus Charvel, that's fucking tough one. Yeah. I'm gonna say that $1,000 like that Genesis for $1,000 is probably equivalent to that Charvel for 1,000. They're pretty equal. They're both using decent pickups. They're both like Strat kind of copies. They're, I don't know. That's probably a equal. Yeah, I would love that too. Especially the custom stuff. Like, I don't want to go in and buy a $3,000 or $4,000 PRS that everyone's touched and been hanging on the wall because some kids want it. Oh, I never played a $3,000 guitar. I don't like that. To get in, no, I didn't know anybody. My cred- my credentials out of school, I went to work for a movie company, and what happened is a a disc jockey from my area who was the radio coordinator kept calling me. I was only 18, but I had already been signed. I was signed at 16 with Scotty Brothers, and they went defunct, and the record failed. Yeah, Sir sucks. I won't say they suck, but they're overpriced for what they are. They Sir should be like a $1,200, $1,500 guitar at tops. They're not making anything. Listen, DiMarzio and Seymour Duncans are staples of the guitar community for God knows how many years. Sir is not going to make a better neck, CNC neck. They're all CNC machined. They're not using better steel. You can get stainless steel frets. I mean, what is better about a Sir? Yeah, I mean, you could go in and you probably, even if you took the demo, you might go back and you go, listen, can I trade the demo for this new one and you make this new one a demo? I mean, I would be fine with that, and then they just change the numbers. That's all. They could put something in the program that if you get the new guitar and you're not happy with it and you really want the one that was on the wall because it felt better, you could swap them. There's like a serial number change. For me to get in the business was kind of a fluke. I mean, did I went to famous schools and met famous people there, but no one was famous until after the fact that everyone that started getting signed. It was just a fluke. It's a 99.5 chance you ever make it in music. that you will not make it in music. 99.5% you'll never make it in music. Those are staggering odds. That means out of 200 people, one go. That's not great. It's really hard. And what's happened and why it's become so hard is all these companies, like the guitar manufacturers, like Fender owns Charvel, Jackson, Gretsch, they monopolize, they buy. You know what I mean? So like, it's hard because there's not a lot of competition no more. You don't have A&R guys going out to clubs and checking out bands that they heard were really top notch. Like Ted Templeman and Gene Simmons, they saw Van Halen. Gene saw them in a bar. You know what I mean? Whiskey, and then the word got back to Ted. Then he went and saw. It's a weird thing. It's not the same as it was. So change has made it a lot harder, and the change comes from the guys that were playing. Let me put it this way: guys that were playing in the '90s, 2000s, start working for record labels. Those aren't the old school guys. Some of the old school guys have moved up into the bigger corporations that own the smaller one. So that becomes a problem. That's why like new school doctors, most of them suck compared to the old school doctors because the old school have more experience and that's why they were better. These guys were more experienced at running these companies so and they move up to whoever owned them. So that guy that's running like like even like do I think Bud Cole is the right CEO? No. But the problem is he's the right CEO for Servco because he's not going to go against the uppers and go, I don't think that's a good idea. He's a yes man. That's a great idea. On top of it, boss, I'm going to do everything. He's a yes man. He's not a pushback. And that's the problem. A lot of these guys don't push back. And how he got that job is he was working for Fender out of Hawaii and he was running all of Asia and all the Asian sales were going through the roof. So he was doing something right with marketing and the way he was getting guitars over there. But it doing that is not the same as running a company for three other multi-billion-dollar corporations. The Pensa guitars? I don't even know what a Pensa guitar is. Yeah, they can sell it as open box, but Guitar Center, the problem when a guitar sits there and you buy something off of it, they don't even offer to restring it with new strings as a new guitar. And I think that's bad. Some of the stringing on those guitars are they're you, do you know how much playing has to go on to that? And they don't wipe the guitars down. They don't wipe the strings down every night. Can you imagine doing that all day long, just cleaning guitars? So you got people's acid from their hands on the frets, and it's not a new guitar. It's a demo, floor model. Pensa, the only one, sir, I don't know. You get a couple people to talk about Sir because they're endorsed by him, like Andy Wood or somebody like that. But it's not a popular guitar. Most people aren't playing Sirs. They're not playing Nash. They're not playing Tom Anderson. They're not playing LSL because the bigger companies are going to sign bigger people to endorsements. Like PRS, they took them from Fender, and it was a good move because Silver Sky was one of their best-selling guitars. It's business. It's like Santana. Santana's PRS endorsed, but what's he play on all his albums? Not once has he played a PRS. It's all his old Fenders. And he'll tell you that. Carlos Santana does not use a PRS on any album, only his Fenders. And so why does he do that? Because it's a money grab. Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. Don't expect and this is the only thing I'm going to do. I mean, you got to have a plan B and C and D. You know what I mean? You can't just think that you're going to make it in music. I mean, When I got offered that job with the movie company, I took it right away. I was already in a signed band, but the label went defunct, so I was like, yeah, not for me. Because I didn't want in the industry after that. I wanted to do like movie scores and stuff. But once I started having issues because I had all this hair and they're like, get this motherfucker out of here. And then I was getting the calls. Lewis, I'm like, who the fuck are you, man? Stop calling me. No, listen, listen. That's what happened. Nah, he hates the PRS sound. He said the only reason why he uses it live is because of the hum. There's no hum because the pickups are so wild on his Fenders. Because they're old Fenders, and he loves the sound of how aggressive they are. So it eliminates the noise. But he's not a big PRS. He doesn't like them to play them. You know what I mean? He's playing Fenders on all his records. As seen on YouTube, sir. And that's the thing. Out of all the custom made guitars, I would get a custom shop Fender, or I would get a Kiesel. Kiesel was Carvin. First it was Kiesel. Then they had some kind of lawsuit with the name. I think they were making pickups or something, so they had to switch to Carvin. Then they went back to Kiesel, which is the family name. But I know Kiesel's going to be around, and it's part of the Carvin family, and they're the ones that they don't lose as much value as a Sir. I don't want to buy a guitar for $4,000 and have it depreciate 57%. Yeah, yeah. He was doing the Yamaha thing at one time. But Yamaha's come a long way in the last couple of years because they kind of let the guitars go. But again, they know the numbers now. By 2035, it's going to be worth close to 30 billion a year, and there's 40% up for grabs. That's why all these companies are coming out with guitars. It's a money grab. And like some of the guys are like, "Oh, Harley Benton's not." I'm like, dude, there's a Harley Benton on Marketplace for 150 bucks. It's been on there for 3 weeks. Nobody's buying it. Why? Because it's a piece of shit. It's never going to be worth money. You're lucky to sell it. You would. That's the kind of guitar that you just give to your cousin when he's 5 in hopes that he plays. Like if I pass, my kid's going to be able to sell the PV for some money. You know what I mean? Or these. They'll hold the value. What's a Harley Benton going to be worth? I'm not paying $400 for something like that. I bought this for 500 bucks. So why would I not? You know what I mean? It's just stupid. The industry's stupid. The Sir is kosher. They should make Lindsey Graham Sir, since Sir sponsors pretty much anybody but rock stars. Ooh. I'm ready to get going soon too. That way I can do my regular Friday. I'll do Friday and then come back on Sunday. Yeah, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. But I just yawned. I've been sleeping. I had to sleep. My kid's keeping me up all night. That kid's going to bed at 6 in the morning. I'm going to have to stay up one night and make him go to bed. But yeah, it's always a pleasure talking about stuff with you guys. Shabbat guitars. You got to be Jewish to own one. He signed all the Rhett Scholl signed to Shabbat. Tim Pierce is signed to Shabbat. Henning Pauly, that pedophile in Germany, signed to Shabbat. I don't want to. I'm not supporting a company that signs people like that. I don't give a fuck if they could make me play like Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, Hendrix, and every. I'm not gonna sponsor a guitar and promote a guitar like that. I'll take the guitar and run it over with a fucking Lamborghini. And I'll put it on video. I'll buy 10 of those fucking guitars and run them over. No way I'm sponsoring No one like that. It's like Michael Jackson. I loved his music, but I didn't support him. You know, I'm not going to support anyone like that. But Lindsay did so much for Israel. Oh, man. Maybe Palestine got Lindsay. They took him into the tunnels. They're feeding him beef jerky and scotch. Oh my god. There's some politicians that I don't like. Lindsey Graham's one of them. I couldn't stand him ever. Mitch McConnell couldn't stand him. Lindsey Graham. I don't care if they're Republican or not. I'm an independent. Again, there are some people that I just can't stand. Like I couldn't stand Kamala Harris. I can't stand Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. It's just how it is. I I don't care what side you're on. If I don't like you, I'm just gonna say I don't like you. The Silver Graham. Lindsay was gay. Why? Did you see him hanging out with Andy? Oh yeah, that's a great one. Harley Benton's like first act at Walmart. Exactly. All right, everybody, let me take off. I'll end up on here for hours. I want to try to save my back. I don't want to end up back on the floor. Again, I appreciate all you. I'm glad you guys got to see me the other night. I took the video down because I didn't want my kid to see it. But again, I'm just a regular guy. I have my own issues with my back. I wanted to show you guys what I have to go through with my back sometimes because I know there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of problems. And I want to tell you, don't ever give up. Don't ever fucking give up. I'm not going to give up. I go through my periods. That happens probably every 3 weeks. So you guys don't ever get to see that. But I'm a human being. I'm not a guitar god. I make mistakes on stage. I make mistakes here. I'm just a guy trying to live like everybody else. All right, everybody. Peace out. Mitch the Turtle. All right, everybody. It's always a pleasure. I could watch all your comments and just laugh now. Yeah. All right, everybody. You guys have a good night. I'll see you probably Friday during the day and then maybe Sunday 8 p.m. Peace. Ad scene.